Most people with wide feet are buying the wrong shoe size, and it's the #1 reason why walking shoes feel uncomfortable, even when the shoe itself is supposed to be of good quality. If you've ever gone a half size up, or even a full size, just to get more space in the shoe, you're actually making the problem worse, because shoe size and shoe width are completely different things. So in this video, I'm going to show you how wide shoes actually work, how to measure your foot width at home, the difference between 2E, 4E and 6E, and the best walking shoes right now for wide feet. Because once you understand width properly, buying walking shoes becomes much easier. And I'm going to show you 4 very different types of wide fitting shoes, because not all wide feet are the same size or shape. So we've got one that's built for maximum stability with a really wide base underneath, one that's more of a comfort first option if you're walking or standing for long periods of time, a classic wide trainer that just does everything well, and a more natural, anatomically shaped option for those of you who need a wider toe box only. So whether you need width from heel to toe, just space in the forefoot, or you just want something that feels completely different underfoot, we've got you covered. So some of the mistakes that people make when they've got a wider foot is sizing up. The difficulty with this is that it leads to heel slippage. If you've got built-in arch support, your foot moves around it, the shoe flexes and bends in the wrong place, and therefore the shoe actually becomes less stable overall. What you actually need is your normal size and length with a wider width. And this is where today's sponsor, widefitshoes.com, comes into play. They're a family business that specialises completely in wide trainers, and they stock over 40,000 pairs. They carry widths from 2E, 4E, 6E. Most retailers simply don't stock these widths, which is why so many people think shoes just don't fit them properly. Wide fit shoes focus on function over fashion, and they work directly with the biggest brands to stock the wide versions of the shoes we're talking about today. Now, the first step before choosing wide shoes is actually knowing your width, because most people have never measured it properly. The easiest way to measure your foot width at home is really simple. All you need is a piece of paper, a pen, and a ruler or tape measure. Place the paper on the floor and stand on it barefoot with your full weight on your foot. This is important. You need to be standing, not sitting, because your foot spreads when it's loaded. Now trace around the outline of your foot. Once you've done that, measure the widest part of your forefoot, usually across the ball of the foot. And measure both feet, because most people have one foot slightly wider than the other, and always use the larger measurement. A quick tip here is try to do this at the end of the day or after you've been walking or exercising. Your feet naturally spread or swell towards the end of a day or after exercise, so we want that measurement to reflect how your feet actually feel when you're walking in the shoes. One thing I don't recommend is wrapping your tape around the foot. This can compress the soft tissues of the foot and give us an inaccurate reading. This is best placed when it's done by a professional. So the easiest way to do it at home is by doing it on paper, tracing your foot and getting the widest part of your foot. Once you have that foot measurement, you can compare it to some sizing charts, which you can find on widefitshoes.com, and we'll link that in the description below. Now here's the critical part that you need to think about. Is your foot just wide in the forefoot, or is your foot wide from the heel all the way up to your toes? Because these are 2 completely different types of wide feet. Some people just need space in the forefoot only, others need width from heel to toe, and because of that, we're covering different types of shoe options to accommodate these different foot types. So the first category is for the widest and the most stable platform, and this goes to the Brooks Ghost Max 3. This is one of the shoes I recommend most often to people who come into clinic and say, I just want a shoe that feels really stable and roomy. The main reason is the platform width. If you look underneath the shoe, you can see how broad the base is, especially through the heel and forefoot. The wider base increases the amount of ground contact you have when walking, and more ground contact means more inherent stability without needing aggressive support features pressing up into your foot. So instead of feeling intrusive or corrective, the stability just feels natural. This is what we classify as a stable neutral shoe. It also has some nice stability features like sidewalls that come up from the midsole, cradle your foot to keep it centered in the shoe, and a rigid heel counter, which helps to control pronation moments when you initiate contact with the ground. Now this shoe is particularly helpful if you have a wide foot from the heel all the way up to the forefoot, if you overpronate or struggle to control pronation moments. If you're someone who likes to wear an orthotic, it can slip into the shoe naturally, as it has one of the wider toe boxes on the market, also with quite a bit of height in there, has a really premium feel on top of the shoe, has a very gentle rocker on it to help with that push off or that toe off phase of the gait cycle without making it unstable. The cushioning is balanced overall so you don't sink into it too much. However, one of the downsides to the shoe is that it's a little bit heavy for some people's liking. Now, if you want a more comfort focused shoe with a bit more stability built into it. Then we have the Skechers Arch Fit 2.0. This is a completely different type of wide shoe compared to the Ghost Max. It features on widefitshoes.com, and while the Brooks is built around stability and structure, the Skechers is built around comfort and forgiveness. This is the type of shoe I recommend to people who are on their feet all day, who need a little bit of arch support, and that's one of the standout features here. It's the Arch Fit insole. This is a removable insole that gives gentle arch support without being rigid or pushing too hard up into the arch of your foot. That's part of the reason of why the shoe is so comfortable. And on top of the shoe, there's lots of stretch in the material. Comes in a variety of wide options. It is suitable for those of you who have a wide foot from heel to forefoot, and the cushion is firmer than what we get in the Brooks Ghost Max 3. So if you really like that stable feel underneath the ground, so that when you initiate contact, you don't sink into the cushioning, you can really get that arch support as a result of the firmer cushioning, and you have a gentle rocker, less aggressive than the Brooks Ghost Max 3 to help with the push-off phase of the gait cycle. This shoe is not a performance walking shoe, it's more of an all-day, comfort-focused shoe for those easy walks, for them casual walks to the shop, whereas the Ghost Max 3 is something that you can wear for longer distances overall. The third category goes to more of a casual, classic walking shoe, and that's the New Balance 880. This is the shoe for people who don't want anything too extreme. They just want a reliable, traditional trainer that fits properly and works for everyday lifestyle. Compared to the Ghost Max, it feels lighter, more flexible, and a bit more casual in terms of how it looks. So instead of being built for longer walks or standing all day, this fits more into the space of shorter walks, casual wear, everyday errands, and the cushioning sits right in the middle between the Ghost Max 3 and the Skechers Arch Fit 2.0. So there's enough padding in there to give you some protection on a day-to-day basis, which is the fresh foam cushioning that New Balance are famous for, which gives you a very predictable and reliable feel underneath your foot, but it doesn't have that volume of cushioning that we see in the Skechers or in the Brooks. New Balance is renowned for being one of the best fitting shoes on the market and is one of the more popular shoes on widefitshoes.com. So who isn't this shoe for? Well, if you want a max stability shoe, this is not it. If you want a shoe for walking 15 to 20 kilometers, this is an ideal option either. But for those of you who like a more casual look or a shoe that you can wear to the office, this is a better option for those people. Now the final category goes to more natural shaped toe box shoe, and that's the Altra Experience Flow 3. Now the Flow 2 was one of our favourite shoes of the last 12 months, and the Flow 3 hasn't let us down either. Altra are historically renowned for having a zero drop shoe, which is no difference in height from the back to the front of the shoe, but they built the Flow 3 with a 4mm drop, which means it's more accommodating to the general public. Now it's got cushioning that's nicely balanced, so you sink into it, gives you lots of all-day comfort, but it's not unstable underfoot. It's very much a classic neutral shoe overall. Now this shoe is built more for people who have a narrow heel, narrow midfoot, and a wide toe box. The anatomical toe box is designed to be built around the natural shape of our foot, so it allows our toes to splay, while locking down the heel and the midfoot. Now, clinically, we classically find that people with bunions or big toe arthritis have a wider foot in the forefoot, but a naturally narrower foot in the midfoot and heel. This really works well for those. Those of you who don't have any injuries, have a normal sized foot, but just want to facilitate normal splaying of your toes when you walk, this is an excellent option as well. It's got a nice stretchy, flexible upper, so it's a bit more accommodating overall. It's a really flexible shoe which promotes a more natural walking motion, and it's a shoe that you can use for longer distance walks, walking to the shop, for standing for long periods of time, as the cushioning in there gives you all that support that you need. This shoe is not for someone who needs arch support, lots of stability underfoot, or a max cushion shoe. But overall, it's one of our favourite options that have come out in the last 12 months. So just to quickly summarise, if you want a neutral stable shoe with a wide platform, the Brooks Ghost Max 3. If you want some built-in arch support with all-day comfort and firm cushioning, the Skechers Arch Fit 2.0. If you want a more casual looking shoe that comes in a variety of width options, the New Balance 880. And if you just want a wide fitting anatomical toe box for those of you at wide forefoot, then the Altra Experience Flow 3 is a perfect option. If you're still unsure of what foot type you have or what shoe works best for you, drop a comment below. I read most of them and try and get back to as many people as I can. And if you want to check out more wide toe option shoes, don't forget to check out widefitshoes.com. They ship globally and they've got one of the largest array of wide fitting shoes with every type of brand you can imagine, and there's a link to them in the description below. For those of you who are regular viewers, thanks for watching, and if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, please do, as it makes a massive difference to the channel.